Thank you very much, and a warm welcome to our YouTube channel. We always bring you the latest and hottest issues. Here are the details. One of the largest scale attacks by Russian forces has just occurred near the town of Velyka Novosilka in Donetsk province. However, the ambition to expand control of the highlands and approach the border of Dnipropetrovsk province quickly turned into a disaster for the Russian army, as Ukrainian forces launched a precise and devastating counterattack from above. Russia coordinated attacks from 4 different directions, targeting 3 villages that had been severely damaged: Ripnopin, Novosilka, and Vinnypol. The strategy was to split the front lines and exert simultaneous pressure to find weak points in Ukraine's defenses. On the terrain map, Russia initially had the advantage, advancing along high ridgelines to avoid direct fire from Ukrainian troops due to limited visibility. Ukraine currently controls the high ground in front of Novopin, the highest peak in the local mountain range. From here, they can easily observe both flanks of Novosilka, effectively deploying anti-tank missiles, machine guns, artillery, and armed UAVs. In Vinnypol, Ukrainian forces control the northern high point of the village, overseeing the only road Russian troops use to approach. This gives them comprehensive advantages in both observation and fire control. In the fields near Novosilka, Russian forces attempted to use motorcycles to traverse open terrain, hoping to evade kamikaze drones by moving quickly and in small groups. But this tactic quickly failed once soldiers stopped or dismounted. Ukraine's FPV drones immediately targeted and eliminated them with precision strikes. Overall, Russia launched a coordinated large-scale assault, leveraging terrain advantages to strike Ukrainian weak points. However, Ukraine's defense forces responded swiftly, inflicting heavy losses on the Russians and halting their advance. Amid prolonged battlefield stalemates, Russia is likely to continue increasing pressure in this region in the coming weeks to pursue its strategic goal of advancing toward the Dnipropetrovsk border. According to KF Independent, since late April, the Dnipropetrovsk provincial government has issued a mandatory evacuation order for families with children from 4 villages in the east as Russian forces approach the administrative border of the province. The evacuation order, issued by Governor Salak on April 25th, applies to the villages of Kolona, Mayova, Novo, Pideron, Ripol, and Sukareva Banka in the Mezova community. Public anxiety in the area has risen as Russian forces are reported to be just 5 to 15 kilometers away from these settlements, near the administrative boundary between Dnipropetrovsk and Donetsk provinces. Evacuees are transported by vehicle and instructed to bring money, important documents, medicine, water, food for several days, and other essentials. While Donetsk province remains the focal point of the Ukraine conflict, with much of its territory already under Russian control, Russian forces continue to regularly target Dnipropetrovsk province with drones, missiles, and glide bombs, causing civilian casualties. Ukraine's military is suffering from a severe shortage of long-range air defense systems capable of protecting cities from incoming Russian missiles. Unable to shoot down all incoming missiles, Ukrainians are taking preventive measures. They are detonating Russian munitions and missiles in surface storage before Russian Air Force bombers can strike. Recently, Ukrainian drones flew nearly 240 kilometers into Russian territory and attacked the Sykhovka airbase, where some Russian Tupolev Tu-22M bombers, often used to launch Kh-22 cruise missiles at Ukrainian cities, are stationed. NASA satellite images recorded large explosions at the base. This marks the second Ukrainian raid on the XOP base within 6 weeks. Previously, Ukraine had conducted a similar drone attack on the same base. Ukraine's repeated attacks on Sykhovka and the destruction of missiles there not only weaken Russia's offensive capabilities, but also ease pressure on Ukraine's increasingly depleted domestic air defense systems. KF continues to urge Western allies to strengthen air defense support. President Volodymyr Zelensky even proposed purchasing the FiOS defense system from the United States, warning that existing systems are inadequate. However, U.S. President Donald Trump later rejected the proposal. While Ukraine pushes for an unconditional ceasefire initiative in line with U.S. proposals, Russia continues to reject those conditions and is believed to be intensifying airstrikes and frontline assaults. A few days ago, The Ukrainian Air Force reported it had shot down 442 Shahed kamikaze drones and more than 230 other Russian UAVs, along with 31 Kh-101 and Kh-55 SM cruise missiles, 7 Iskander ballistic missiles, 6 Kalibr cruise missiles, and 4 Kh-guided air-launched missiles. Alexander Potapov, CEO of tank manufacturer Uralvagonzavod, stated on May 9th that after the Victory Day parade, main battle tanks T-72B3M, T-80BVM, and T-90M will be upgraded and transferred to the military for deployment in the special military operation. Potapov noted that tanks in the Red Square parade appeared in standard configurations without cage armor, drone-repelling nets, or electronic warfare systems. According to current standards, these systems will be installed before deployment to the battlefield. According to Uralvagonzavod's press office, over 60 tanks and armored vehicles were mobilized for the Victory Day parade in Red Square. These included 10 T-34-85 tanks, 5 self-propelled Su-100 guns, and 10 modern tanks comprising the T-72B3M, T-80BVM, and T-90M models. These vehicles, symbolizing national military strength, will be upgraded post-parade with explosive reactive armor and modern electronic warfare systems effective against UAVs and precision-guided weapons. The modernization process significantly enhances the tank's survivability in high-intensity combat environments where drones pose a primary threat. Potapov emphasized that Uralvagonzavod is operating at full capacity to fulfill both scheduled production and urgent orders for the front line. Uralvagonzavod's facilities play a central role in maintaining Russia's military readiness. In 2024, the company increased tank production by 20% compared to the previous year, focusing on the advanced T-90M and T-72B3M models. The T-90M tank, equipped with thermal imaging sights and upgraded armor, is considered one of the most advanced in Russia's arsenal. Meanwhile, the T-80BVM gas turbine model is praised for its mobility in harsh weather conditions. The addition of electronic warfare systems is a response to the growing threat posed by Ukraine's FPV drones, which account for up to 60% of threats to armored vehicles. The Victory Day parade commemorating the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Red Army's defeat of Nazi Germany in the Great Patriotic War took place in Moscow, featuring many new weapons, including the wheeled self-propelled howitzers 2S-43 Malva and 2S-44 Phlox, as well as Geran-2 and Lancet suicide drones, and the Orlan reconnaissance drone. Key systems like the S-400 air defense complex, Iskander-M tactical ballistic missiles, and the RS-24 Yars intercontinental ballistic missile also appeared in the event. Besides Moscow, Russia held Victory Day parades in 27 cities, including 19 cities housing military district headquarters, fleets, and combined arms armies. In early April, during an interview with Ukraine's LBUA, Ukraine's commander-in-chief Alexander Syrsky stated that Kiev needs to mobilize 30,000 troops per month to maintain resistance against the Russian military and acknowledged the widening gap in military capability between the two sides. According to Syrsky, Russia can potentially mobilize up to 5 million trained and experienced soldiers for rapid deployment. A nationwide mobilization could push this figure to 20 million. He also noted that in some frontline areas, Russian forces outnumber Ukrainians by a ratio of 10-1, exacerbating Ukraine's manpower shortages. Facing this challenge, Ukraine's prison system could become a significant source of military personnel, with officials estimating that 20 to 30% of the 37,000 inmates could be eligible for military service. Ukraine faces a severe manpower and conscription crisis, struggling to maintain troop numbers amid heavy casualties, desertions, and recruitment difficulties. Although Ukraine officially has over 1 million service members, only about 300,000 are actively fighting on the front lines. Many frontline brigades operate at just 50 to 60% capacity, or even 30% in some cases. To address Russia's momentum, Ukrainian officials view the prison recruitment initiative as a vital way to boost national military capacity and give inmates a chance to redeem themselves through national service. According to Deputy Justice Minister Jen Pikolov, the program serves dual goals: supplementing defense forces and creating a mechanism for social reintegration through an ultimate expression of civic duty. This recruitment effort was formalized when President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a law on January 17, 2024, establishing a legal framework for drafting inmates. The law applies only to those convicted of minor offenses and excludes individuals involved in terrorism, corruption, sexual crimes, or national security breaches. According to the Ministry of Justice of Ukraine, 57% of inmates are serving time for property-related crimes, while 11% were convicted of drug trafficking, groups likely to qualify for the initiative. The Ministry of Defense noted that participation is not automatic. It requires additional steps, including medical examinations, court approval for early release, and acceptance by a military unit commander. Among those already recruited are 100 women. Pikolov added that Ukraine declared a nationwide mobilization in May 2022 and has continuously extended it since. On January 18, 2024, a new law enhancing conscription took effect, lowering the draft age from 27 to 25, allowing hundreds of thousands more Ukrainians to be called up. The Ukrainian government has also stepped up efforts to prevent draft-age men from evading service. However, these efforts face numerous challenges, as many individuals attempt to avoid frontline deployment by buying fake documents, claiming disabilities, enrolling in educational institutions, or illegally crossing borders, actions that often carry high risk.